2.
Hello and welcome to Transit Tuesday. We are just getting started. Give us one moment and we will be ready to go. Let's see. All right. Okay, hi, my name is Reed Alvarado. I'm the Communications Coordinator for SunLine Transit Agency, and I'm joined here today by my colleague, Nicholas Robles. We will be getting started with our Transit Tuesday presentation in just a moment. Please just give us a second to let everyone get on, and then we will get going.
And
Nicholas, would you like to introduce yourself?
I was going to say, and today we're doing our English presentation at 1, and then roughly 1:20 we will be doing our Spanish presentation. Hoy para el tránsito martes vamos a hacer en inglés primero, ahorita a las 1 y para más o menos a las 1:20 en español. And if anybody has questions or just wants to say hi, just drop a message in the chat.
That is a great reminder. Thank you, Nicholas. All right, well, we will get started with introductions. And if you have any questions or want to view this later, this will be on our Facebook page. So hello, like I said before, my name is Rita Alvarado, Communications Coordinator for SunLine Transit Agency. Today is Transit Tuesday, and we will be talking about how COVID-19 has changed your ride and an update on what is coming soon for SunLine Transit Agency. This presentation will be in English, but my colleague, Nicholas Robles, will follow up the same presentation in Spanish at 1:20. So if you're looking for this presentation in Spanish, feel free to watch it twice or come back in 20 minutes. Both presentations will be on our Facebook page for you to view after this presentation. All right, let's get started. Now, you may have heard that on May 2nd, SunLine Transit Agency is resuming front door boarding and fare collection. That decision is a product of a lot of hard work and effort by many teams at SunLine, and many teams at SunLine to ensure that we continue our riders are safe. As we're passing the 1-year mark of the first public health order related to COVID-19 in Riverside County, today's Transit Tuesday will look at a timeline of what has happened in the last year and how it got us to this point. Here you can see some key dates that we will be reviewing over the next couple minutes. Now, on March 8th, 2020, County of Riverside Public Health Officer Dr. Cameron Kaiser declared a local health emergency, citing the county's first locally acquired case of novel coronavirus COVID-19. Far from the only area experiencing this sudden shift from the norm, SunLine was tasked with quickly needing to explore options on how to keep riders safe as we learned about this new virus. Now, wasting no time, SunLine Transit Agency was one of the first agencies in the country to suspend fare collection on March 17th, 2020. Part of the suspension of this fare collection was including the instruction to board from our rear doors. This decision was made in tandem with a decision to move to level 3 service, which we are still currently at. This decision allowed us to better position our bus fleet in areas where social distancing was most needed. Now, you might be asking, what did fare suspension accomplish at the time? With the uncertainty around COVID-19 and the effects it would take on our daily lives, SunLine Transit Agency wanted to immediately provide help to our community, and most notably with these 3 impacts. First, with riders and staff safety as the first priority, fare suspension allowed for new social distancing practices while continuing to move essential workers. Second, the sudden impact meant that economic uncertainty was very familiar to many. Suspending fare collection meant that those who relied on public transportation could continue to do so. And finally, at the beginning of the pandemic, many advised removing unnecessary touch points. Suspending fare collection provided time to review the best safety practices. By the middle of April, it was clear COVID-19 wasn't going anywhere anytime soon. But the need to keep essential workers moving remained as important as ever. Thus, on April 29, 2020, the Coachella Valley Strong campaign was born. You can see here on the left one of the two buses that we wrapped to honor our essential workers in the Coachella Valley. The Coachella Valley Strong campaign consisted of two main objectives. The first was Together We Are Stronger. As I mentioned before, two new buses were wrapped. And as you saw on the previous slide, they were a tribute to essential workers and the care that they were providing during the beginning of the COVID-19 health crisis and still this day. The second was acknowledging essential workers via many different means. Coachella Valley residents were encouraged to give shout outs to specific essential workers through social media. At a time when many felt far from their normal lives, it was important to emphasize the community that we all still shared. Now, as the pandemic grew closer to home, SunLine stepped up our efforts to keep riders safer than ever before. On the left, you can see our stop maintenance featured on the cover of the Desert Sun in early April. By the time we launched our Ride with Confidence campaign on July 21st, 2020, we were already providing enhanced cleaning and safety practices, but it was important to educate the public on what steps SunLine was taking to keep them safe. Ride with Confidence consisted of the following practices. Hand sanitizing stations, a hand sanitizer located on each fixed route and paratransit bus for the use of riders. Enhanced daily disinfecting, additional daily cleaning of high touch point surfaces such as railings, seats, or any other object you would normally touch while riding the bus. And this two-step cleaning process also extended to each and every one of our bus stops. The next is bus fogging. Each bus is sanitized daily using hospital-grade disinfectant through each bus's HVAC operating system. Face covering requirements, something that we're all very familiar 1 year later. Mandatory face covering requirements for all bus passengers and bus operators, also included at our stops. Complimentary face coverings for passengers who have indicated a need. And finally, the MyStop mobile app. The app allows riders to see the number of riders on any given bus in real time. This is an important feature that we still see carried through our day-to-day use of the app. You can visit MyStop mobile app on your phone and click on any bus along the route, and you will be able to see in real time how many passengers are on that given bus.
And Reed, for people just joining us, what are we talking about today?
Thank you. So today we are kind of marking the fact that we have been in COVID-19 and the mindset and all the lead out from that for about 1 year now. In fact, 1 year ago yesterday, the first public health order was issued for COVID-19. So we're reviewing the amount of campaigns and safety practices and standards that SunLine has used over the last year to make sure riders can keep riding safely. And if you're just tuning in, make sure to check out the beginning of this Transit Tuesday on our page. You can also, if you missed anything and you want us to follow back or answer any questions, feel free to leave a comment on our page. All right. Now you can see on the screen here some visual aids of our Ride with Confidence campaign. If you ride our bus regularly, you will have seen these many times, but if you have not been on in the last year, these might be new images to you. On the left is our onboard hand sanitizers, and on our right are our digital rider's guides. So while we offer rider's guides in person or physical copies on our buses still today, we also wanted to give riders a contactless way of accessing information. Therefore, when you board the bus, you can usually see a QR code on the front of the bus or anywhere on that we reference our rider's guide, and it will allow you to access the rider's guide with a digital copy on our website.
SunLine Transit Agency is adding sanitizer stations on all of their buses to help keep riders safe during this pandemic. It's part of the agency's Ride with Confidence campaign. The stations are available at the rear doors, allowing riders to use it when they get on the bus or when they exit.
We're still in the phase of having rear door boarding to mitigate the interaction between the operator and the passengers. And so when a passenger first gets on the bus, they'll see hand sanitizer dispensers that they'll be able to use as they board in the light.
SunLine says they have also enhanced their daily disinfecting procedures for all of their buses, mandatory face coverings for all passengers as well, and complimentary face coverings for anyone who needs one, just in case they forgot it at home. Blake Arthur up next on News.
Now, as I mentioned before, if you have ridden our bus in the last few months or the last year, a lot of what you just saw is probably very familiar to you. But if you hadn't, we wanted to give people a chance to visually see some of the improvements and standards that we have on every fixed route vehicle in our fleet. This local news story was a great example of the lengths we're going to keep our riders safe. Now, just because the Ride with Confidence and the Coachella Valley Strong campaign are a few months old, does not mean we have not been busy here at SunLine Transit Agency. On top of the overhauling change to our systems and services with SunLine Refueled, something we've talked a lot about on Transit Tuesdays, here are a couple of the items that we've been up to over the last few months. Over the last few months, we've been ensuring we maintained our ability to get essential workers and anyone who needs to ride SunLine Transit Agency to their jobs throughout the developments of COVID-19. As we've learned new things about COVID-19, that has adjusted our own standards and practices, so we always want to make sure we've been current. Number two, we've been completing the installation of barrier shields throughout our fixed route network, which includes our local route buses and our paratransit sundial buses. So that way we can keep drivers and riders safe while boarding. Additionally, we've been expanding contactless payment methods to ensure those who wish to pay without touching any services can do so. This in no way replaces our cash fares or physical fares. We'll be talking a little bit more about that in a second, but it is just an additional option if you wish to use it. All right. As I mentioned before, we have been in the process of a barrier shield installation. This has been a huge accomplishment. If you can imagine, every agency in the country has wanted to install these barrier shields. So they are not exactly the kind of thing that you can just walk into a Walmart or store and pick up and put on the bus the next day. This was a long process and we are just about wrapping it up. You will see these buses, you will see these shields on any fixed route bus that you board, and definitely by May 2nd, 2021, when we resume front door boarding and fare collection. If for any reason you need to physically exchange something with the bus driver, it does feature a retractable screen. So that is still a feature that bus operators are able to utilize when needed. As you can see, here is our retractable screen. I will stop that as that screech is a little loud, but it's important for you to be able to see the full functionality of this feature. Our new fixed route and paratransit barrier shields provide extra safety for riders and drivers. As I mentioned, if needed, it can be lowered. And there again, you can see an example of our rider guide QR code in the center. All right, so all of this hard work, multiple campaigns, and different initiatives have led for the ability for us to return to a sense of normalcy on May 2nd, 2021, and resume front door boarding and fare collection. Now, if you have not ridden in the last year, you might be a little bit maybe rough to recollect our fare structure and the different ways you can pay. So we want to make sure you are familiar with all of those methods. On the right, you can see our different physical passes. We have the 10-ride youth card, the 31-day reduced fare, the 1-day adult pass, and a feature I'm very excited about as someone who does not love to use cash that much, our contactless payment token transit app. This app is very easy to download on an iOS or Android phone. And that can be done through the Apple Store if you have an iOS phone, or the Google Play Store on an Android. With Token Transit, you can purchase all single fare and pass options from the convenience of your phone. Token Transit also works with all discount fares and passes, such as senior and student fares. As you can see on the right, you select your ride. This means you select adult, youth, or any other pass which you need. You select your service, whether that's a day pass, a monthly pass, or a single fare. You select your service as in the type of ride you are going to use. So for that, we have the 10 commuter link, we have our local routes, and a few others, and then you select your fare. As you can see on the bottom, you can use Apple Pay or a credit or debit card. Also, which is a great feature when using your Token Transit app, you can buy multiple tickets. So fear not, if you only have one phone for 3 people, you can buy 3 fares with a single app, which I know not all apps can do, so that is a great feature. Now, it's great to have Token Transit as a way to pay your fare, but sometimes it gets a little difficult to have so many apps for so many different things. That's why we are proud, with the resumption of our fare collection, to announce that Token Transit, our official transit payment operator for our digital platforms, has integrated into various locally used transit apps that will allow you to pay within those apps. You can see here Transit app, which is a wayfinding app that specializes in bus and rail transportation, will be collecting Token Transit payment on the app. If you've ever been to San Bernardino and used Omnitrans, you will see this feature live right now. Move It already has our fares on the app. You can see that by downloading Move It on the iOS or Google Store. And finally, and probably most commonly known by most of our viewers, Google Maps will be integrating Token Transit into their public transportation directions. So this makes it easier than ever to make contactless payments using your phone. Now, like I said, it has been a while since we have had to deal with fares, so we just wanted to remind you that our single ride fare was $1 for adults, and I won't bore you with every single fare structure we have, but this fare table is located in our Rider's Guide. You can visit our Rider's Guide by visiting sunline.org. It is also found in our physical Rider's Guides on page 13 in English and page 23 in Spanish. This includes our 10 commuter link, which is launching in July, and our SunRide, which is live right now. As I mentioned before, barrier shields were not just installed on our fixed route buses, but also on our Sundial paratransit service. A brief reminder of fares on that system are $1.50 within one city and $2 when going from city to city. For a quick example, if you're in Palm Springs and going to another location in Palm Springs, that's $1.50. If you're going from Palm Springs to maybe Cathedral City, that is $2. Now, while we are excited to resume front door boarding and fare collection, as it is something that has been familiar with riders for a long time, we are remaining currently at level 3 service. With our recent improvements for allowing us to resume front door boarding, we're currently remaining at service level 3 until further notice. Level 3 allows us to provide extra buses to our busiest routes to promote social distancing. So the reason to remain at level 3 service is to give us that extra ability to make sure we're providing the amount of service needed for our busiest routes so that people can ride with the comfort of knowing that they will have a little bit more space between them and the next passenger. Now, I know I covered a lot, so if you have any questions, please feel free to ask. And before I let Nicholas get started in
But you finished
Spanish,
right on time.
thank you, thank you. Nicholas, I did want to, during this transition, make sure to remind viewers that while that was a lot of information, we are very excited to announce that over the next 2 months, the marketing team at SunLine Transit Agency are available for virtual trainings on any of the things we just discussed at any time. We'll be putting out a newsletter a little later this week that shows instructions on how to request a virtual training. So if you are viewing from your place of work, a school, or any other group that you would like some instruction on how to ride SunLine Transit Agency, we would be happy to walk you through that. Anything you wanted to add, Nicholas?
I just want to say it's important to note we have been doing a lot of virtual trainings with school groups as well as community groups as we resume fare collection. So people, if they are interested in learning more about fares or getting reacclimated with fare collection, they should definitely send us an email and we can put them on our outreach schedule. And it looks like we have a comment from Felice who wants to thank SunLine for keeping us moving during the pandemic. So thank you, Felice, for that comment. Yes, our operators work hard 363 days a year, moving our buses forward. All right, so now I'm gonna get into this in Spanish. So para la gente que está con nosotros, ahora es Tránsito Martes, el 9 de marzo de 2021. Y hoy vamos a hablar cómo COVID-19 ha cambiado su viaje, cómo ha cambiado su viaje por la pandemia. Next slide, read. La conografía. Ya es más de un año, el 8 de marzo en 2020, el doctor Kaiser del condado de Riverside premió una emergencia por la pandemia y para el 17 de marzo en el año 2020, SunLine Transit Agency o la agencia de tránsito SunLine era una de las primeras agencias que suspendió las tarifas para usar el autobús y también usando la puerta de atrás para usar nuestro servicio. Y para el 29 de abril tenemos una campaña Coachella Valley Strong y es para dar gracias a todos los manejadores y todos los gentes que trabajan en los hospitales y los restaurantes que nos han ayudado este año pasado. Y por el 21 de julio tenemos la campaña Ride with Confidence y ese era para que puedan saber la gente qué son las cosas que está haciendo SunLine por la pandemia y por qué estamos aquí hoy, número 5, el 2 de mayo en 2021. Vamos a reanudar las tarifas de SunLine. Next slide, read. Vamos a hablar un poquito más de qué ha pasado en este año pasado. El 8 de marzo ordenaron de Salud Pública del Condado de Riverside que la pandemia era una emergencia. Next slide. ¿Y qué hizo SunLine? Suspendemos las tarifas y necesitaban usar la puerta de atrás para utilizar nuestro servicio. Y esto era para que la gente y los manejadores tenían distanciamiento social. Hello, Holly Smith. Y acción rápida. ¿Qué fueron los impactos cuando suspendimos las tarifas? Eran 3. Y ya hablamos un poquito del número 2. Y eso es para que puedan tener distanciamiento social, pero también para la gente que no sabía dónde iban a tener trabajo, para que no tenían que pagar para usar el bus. Y el número 3, para que hay menos contacto con el público y los manejadores o manejadoras. Next slide, Reed. Y hablamos un poquito de la campaña Coachella Valley Strong, y este es un nuevo autobús que tenemos, que agarramos en más o menos abril. Y es importante porque este tiene colores muy diferentes para decir gracias y que juntos estamos más fuertes. Next slide, please. Thank you. Y con el Coachella Valley Strong, juntos somos más fuertes. 2 nuevos autobuses para los trabajadores esencial, no nomás en SunLine, pero todos que trabajan en los hospitales y en las tiendas. Y también para reconocer los trabajadores esenciales. Y cuando empezó la pandemia, también muchos de los periódicos y de las noticias querían saber qué estamos haciendo. Y aquí está uno de nuestros limpiadores limpiando las paradas del autobús. Cuando empezó la pandemia, todas las paradas del autobús agarran 2 limpias, uno de limpiar y uno de sanitize. Y con eso tenemos la campaña de Ride with Confidence que empezó en julio. Muchas de las cosas que estamos limpiando empezaron en marzo, pero para que toda la gente pueda saber qué estamos haciendo, por eso ponemos la campaña Ride with Confidence. Y con Ride with Confidence están estaciones de desinfecto de manos, están en todos los autobuses. Desinfección diario mejores adentro de los autobuses. Y también desinfectar cada autobús sobre el operativo de el aire acondicionado de todos los buses, para que entre el día también está limpiando el aire. Y también cubre de bocas necesitan para usar en el autobús, y cubre de bocas cuando están en las paradas del autobús. Pero el más importante, yo creo, es la aplicación MyStop. Y con esta aplicación pueden ver dónde está el autobús, pero también pueden agarrar información muy importante. Y esa información es cuánta gente está en ese autobús antes que subes. So, si ves que nomás hay 2 personas o hay 8, puedes tener la información para que puedas planificar su viaje. Y aquí está una foto del desinfectante de manos y también nuestros guías de pasajeros digital. Y también están allí por papel, pero mucha gente no quiere el papel y los quiere digitalmente. So aquí está una foto de eso.
SunLine Transit Agency is adding sanitizer stations on all of their buses to help keep riders safe.
Y en este video es de las noticias para que puedes ver cómo limpian los autobuses. Primero es por mano y luego agarran una escoba y luego una aspiradora. Y finalmente por el sistema del aire acondicionado.
Gets on the bus, they'll see hand sanitizer dispensers that they'll be able to use as they board in the light.
So aquí está la máquina que
Complimentary face
limpia
coverings,
por el aire acondicionado.
complimentary face coverings for it.
Y
Anyone
también si no tienen cubrebocas, los manejadores del autobús tienen cubrebocas para la gente. Durante los últimos meses, ¿qué estamos haciendo? Ya son 12 meses, un año con todo esto en nuestra vida. So, ¿qué estamos haciendo? Ponemos varias entre el manejador y los pasajeros, pero también tenemos más opciones para que pueden pagar su tarifa para el viaje del autobús. Y vamos a hablar un poquito más de las instalaciones de escudo de varia. Next slide, Reed. So, aquí tenemos la varia y aquí hay un manejador para que pueden ver cómo se ven las varias. Next slide. Hello, Bill. Y para la gente que está con nosotros, ahorita estamos haciendo la presentación en español. Si lo quieres ver en inglés, nomás necesitas empezar otra vez. Hello, for those of you just joining us, this is Transit Tuesday on Facebook Live. We are currently in the middle of the Spanish presentation, so if you'd like to watch the exact same thing in English, just grab the scroller and go back to the beginning, and my colleague Reed did this in English earlier. Okay, so estábamos hablando escudos de varia y aquí hay otro video para que puedes ver cómo trabajan. Y suben y bajan, so si necesitas dar algo al manejador, lo pueden bajar un poquito. Pero porque estamos aquí hoy es porque vamos a reunir los tarifas de transporte, empezando el 2 de mayo de 2021. So, empezando el 2 de mayo es muy importante porque vamos a tener tarifas otra vez. Next slide, Reed. Y para mucha gente antes de la pandemia tenían los pases para usar el autobús y pagar su tarifa. Pero también hay otra opción y ese es con la aplicación Token Transit. Con la aplicación Token Transit pueden pagar la tarifa del autobús con su teléfono. Y es muy importante si quieres menos contactos para que no necesitas tocar la caja de feria. Y para agarrar la aplicación de Token Transit es gratis. Hola, Romney. Ok, y si estás como yo y ya tienes muchas aplicaciones en su teléfono y no quieres otra aplicación, hay otras opciones que puedes usar. Y una de las más grandes es Google Maps. Con la aplicación de Google Maps, empezando el 2 de mayo, pueden pagar su boleto del autobús con la aplicación Google Maps, o no necesitas agarrar la aplicación Token Transit si no lo quieres. O si tienes, por ejemplo, la aplicación Transit App, porque vienes de San Bernardino o Los Ángeles, donde mucha gente en esas áreas usan la aplicación Transit App o la aplicación Move It, también pueden pagar su tarifa del bus con esas aplicaciones. Y muy importante, porque vamos a tener tarifas otra vez el 2 de mayo. ¿Cuánto cuesta? Todos los costos están los mismos antes de la pandemia. So, para adultos, $1, y para nuestro servicio, el 10 enlace de cercanías, ese es $6 y ese va a empezar en julio. So, aquí está toda la información para todas las tarifas. de adultos y jóvenes y personas de mayor edad. Y también vamos a tener tarifas en nuestro servicio de Sundial. Si tienes certificación para usar ese servicio, $2 para ir a city to city, o si nomás vas a estar en una ciudad, es un $1.50. Y si te olvida, estos números también están en las páginas de guía de pasajero o también en nuestro sitio de web. Y una cosa muy importante, porque vamos a tener tarifas otra vez empezando el 2 de mayo, pero todavía vamos a estar en el servicio Naval 3, y ese quiere decir que todos nuestros horarios están en el día de domingo. 7 días a la semana tenemos el horario de domingo con servicio Naval 3. Y esto no va a cambiar. Empezando en el mayo, todavía en el servicio Naval 3, pero vamos a tener tarifas otra vez. Y era mucha información. O si todavía tienes otras preguntas, pueden hablar con nosotros en nuestro sitio de web, llamar o mandarnos un correo electrónico. Hi, Vicky. Thank you for joining us. For those of you who might just be tuning in, we were just talking about fare and front door boarding resuming on Sunday, May 2nd. And if you missed this presentation, you can go back, watch it in English, and if you want a Spanish lesson, you can also watch it in Spanish or vice versa. If you have any specific questions, Vicky, we'd love to hear from you. I see Bill's also watching, so if anybody has any questions, we'd be happy to take some of your questions. Reed, did you have any clarifying comments?
Well, it was a great Spanish lesson for me, so thank you very much. We are just wanted to remind you that we are here for virtual trainings. Virtual trainings can focus on a multitude of different things we do here at SunLine Transit Agency. But most importantly, we want to make sure that if you want to use contactless payment methods with your phone, as we said before, cash and physical passes are still an option. But if you want to use apps like Token Transit, Google Maps, Transit app, or Move It to pay your fare, and you fear you are not equipped with the phone knowledge to do so, we want to put that fear at ease. We are happy to do Zoom tutorials to show you how to pay your fare on your phone. So please reach out to us at sunline.org. You can use the live chat feature. It is on the bottom right of our homepage. You'll see a little chat box. Or call us at 760-343-3451. Both these features are available on working hours from Monday to Friday between 8 a.m. and 5 p.m. If you reach us outside those hours, leave a message on the virtual chat and it will be answered the next business day at 8 a.m. Or just email us at marketing@sunline.org, where someone will get back to you under business hours and make sure that we schedule a training or get you whatever you need. So those are the main things that we wanted to cover for Transit Tuesday today. As always, we are so thankful that you would take the time out of your busy Tuesday to join us. And if you're watching this at a later date, thank you for going back. Anything else, Nicholas?
I think that covers it. Gracias a todos para estar con nosotros. Si tienen más preguntas, nos pueden llamar o mandar correo electrónico. Hasta el otro martes, que es el 4 martes del mes, el 23 de marzo, estamos aquí otra vez. So we will see everybody back here on the 4th Tuesday, Reed. That is Tuesday, March 23rd for the next Transit Tuesday. Thanks.
Thank you very much.